now. And so, as I said, so we're going to talk about STAR data. We're going to look at the new TEKS briefly, and then you guys are going to go into breakouts with the vendors. You guys can connect with the vendor that your district has adopted, and you can ask questions. You can talk to them. They might have a few slides, some presentations. They might get into their program and just kind of share with you guys, how nuts and bolts and things like that. But we just wanted to create a space for you guys to connect with them on that. Okay. And from here, I'm going to hand it off to my colleague, Kelly, and she's going to talk a little bit more about TCES and who we are, the organization that is running this Zoom.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. And I am also so excited you could join us. We are the Texas Council of Elementary Science, and our goal is to support science educators, science instruction, science coordinators, coaches all across the entire state of Texas. And so, as you can imagine, most of the work that we do is virtual. And we are kind of in a revival period for our organization. We were dormant for just a little while. We had some changing in the board, and it was kind of left in limbo for just a bit. But you can see we're not a new organization. We've been around a while. I'm not going to read this slide to you, as I'm going to assume high levels of literacy in our room today. But I did want you to know who we are and kind of what our focus is. And with the board that you will see in just a second that's in place now, we are looking to provide you guys opportunities and us opportunities to collaborate from across the state, to make connections with other people that are doing the same work that you are, and then to grow all of us as professionals in science instruction. So if there we are, and this is our board currently. You can see we're represented from kind of all over the state. I know Rocco's in Fort Worth, Jolene's in A-Leaf down by Houston, Melissa's in New Braunfels, kind of center of the state. I'm up in Northwest ISD, which is northwest of Fort Worth, not northwest of San Antonio. We get confused a lot. Dr. Oma Williams-Duncan is down in Houston area. Morgan Castillo is in Waco area, and Camille Chin's out in Terrell ISD. So just wanted to put a little feeler out there. We are looking for some representation for some regional vice presidents for the Rio Grande Valley, San Antonio area, and then our Panhandle, West Texas area. And what we're looking for is people that are just passionate about furthering science education and willing to meet via Zoom, maybe once or twice a month as a board, probably like once a month as a board, and then help support growth for teachers and science instruction across the state. So if that interests you, please reach out to one of our board members.
Thank you, Kelly. So once again, I'm going to just share the information because I've seen a few extra people have come on. If you are interested in having a copy of the slides through the URL, you can go to the bit.ly at the top right, and you can access all of the things that you're seeing me project on my screen now. So the first thing, as promised, we are going to talk about is STAR data. So STAR data has come out. I know a lot of the teachers, we'll just talk briefly about that, are on Facebook. I know there's a lot of chatter on social media. There's a few Facebook groups that I'm a part of, and teachers like to talk about all kinds of things. It's a great professional learning network. But I know that when the STAR data came out, there was a lot of conversation around scores and things like that. So we just wanted to have this opportunity, but we're going to structure the conversation. So really what we're going to do is we're going to model for you guys just one way that you could have these conversations. Like I said, we don't have time to dig into individual campus or district data. So we are going to use statewide release data to have our conversations. But this is something you could take back to your campus or your district and say, hey, this is just a structure that we use that is pretty beneficial. So when we look at STAR data, this is once again statewide data. This is typically how we look at it. It's that horizontal orientation where we're looking at the 5th grade science scores from 21, 22 to 23 to 24. And then of course, obviously, there's a lot to notice and wonder about the scores as they're shown here. You do see that 8% drop in meets, and that's across the state. So I have seen a lot of teachers just concerned about their scores on their campuses. But as you start to see, like it wasn't just one particular school or district or teacher. The state average fell by 8%. So we just wanted to kind of start by just recognizing and affirming to our teachers that we heard of a lot of teachers kind of getting down on themselves. Don't be so down on yourself. Of course, there's always places that we can grow and learn, but just for you to know that the whole state kind of tripped up a little bit this year. So that's kind of what we're going to look at. So, but there's more than, of course, one way to look at data. So what I'm also going to show is This is the math data in that same time span. So this is just, I took screenshots from TEA's website. They published this data. This is for math for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Goes back all the way to 2019. And then here's the data for RLA, for the reading test, all the way back to 2019. And so what we can do is we can use data as a phenomena. And so we know that the new TEKS, we're going to talk about the new TEKS in a little bit, and phenomena-based learning is really important, and it's very explicitly stated in the TEKS that we use phenomena. So using data sets is a great way to use phenomena. So this is the data that we're going to use as our phenomena today. And I just want to encourage you, like I said, typically we just look at this top set of data when looking at our STAR scores for science and elementary, but there's other pieces that we can look at. And so rather than, like I said, just looking vertically, I'd encourage you to look as a cohort, because this spring of 23 to spring of 24, those are 2 different groups of students. So one other way you could look at it is to think about how this group of 5th graders, how they performed on the math test as 4th graders and how they performed on the math test as 3rd graders. You could also look up and see your group of 5th graders this year. Here's how they did in science, but then here's how they did in math, and here's how they did in ELA. So you can look at the data in a couple different ways. And to reinforce our new TEKS as well, I'm going to show this is just a screenshot of recurring themes and concepts, which are these lenses that scientists use to analyze phenomena, things that they don't quite understand all the way. So that's what we know the RTCs are. They're brain tools that scientists utilize to tackle something they don't quite understand all the way. So what I'd like to encourage you to do, what we are going to get into our first set of breakout. We're going to do 2 different breakouts. This first one is going to be to talk about the data as the phenomena, and I'd like you to look through the lens of patterns and cause and effect. I'd like to focus on the RTC of patterns, cause and effect, and let that guide your conversation as you get into breakout groups, okay? So the way this will work is we're going to do, this is sense making. So once again, if you have the slides, you'll have the data up in front of you. If you can get the bit.ly, I believe it's in the chat as well. So I want you just as a group, what do you notice about the data? And what do you wonder? What questions do you have about the data? We're focusing on those recurring themes of concepts of patterns and cause and effect. And in order to capture this information, we're going to go into breakouts. And when we open those up in a little bit, we're just going to let you self-select, but we'd like you to go into the breakouts based on your region, your ESC region. So there'll be a breakout for regions 4 through 7. That's the Houston area, 12 through 15. You can see it right there. So when those breakout groups open, we're going to have you guys just jump into the region that you're located in. And we thought this is a good opportunity for you guys to connect and collaborate with teachers who kind of live near you, who work near you, probably similar demographics of kids, similar constraints, things like that. So this was just an opportunity to create that space for you guys to connect and collaborate with each other. To capture your thoughts, what I would like us to do is we're going to use a Menti. So Menti is a digital tool that we can use to capture thoughts and ideas. And so to do that, you're going to go to menti.com and you're going to use the code 4958495. And everyone in your small group, your breakout group, can comment as you get into your small group. If one person's like, "Hey, I got 3 screens set up, I can capture notes," you can manage that as well. Not everybody has to respond or reply. I know we do have some vendors on the call. Vendors, please feel free to jump into if there's a region that you support. Feel free to just kind of choose whatever region you would like to jump in. But we're going to spend about 10 minutes in the breakout groups. Those just open. So you can go ahead and choose whichever breakout group you would like to go into. And once again, we're talking about what do you notice and what do you wonder about the data, thinking about patterns and cause and effect. Okay, I'll stay here in the main room. If anyone has any questions, I'll just be in here. If not, the rooms are open. You can go ahead and self-select and join me if you would like. See y'all back in about 10 minutes. If we are all back. Unmuted. Okay, so just kind of looking at the responses to kind of what everyone was saying, So the noticings, frustration across the board, feel like we're doing our best, it's not good enough. Okay, so obviously, yeah, we're noticing some frustration amongst the teachers. Well, I mean, yeah, you put all that work into it. Why science is continuing to go down tremendously. TEI questions could have had an impact. It would be interesting to look at item analysis. Something that could have something to do with COVID. Yeah, absolutely. And then our wonderings. I wonder if the TEKS change will impact scores for the better, no longer fifth. That seemed to be a theme on the wondering about like this, how much third and fourth grade really, I mean, the test has always been a third, fourth, and fifth grade test, but with the way the TEKS are now, especially with the incorporation of recurring concepts starting in kindergarten. So really, like, we really need kids thinking about patterns and structure and function beginning in kindergarten. So yeah, it really is a much more vertically aligned whole concept. So yeah, these are really, really good questions. I know that seemed really, really quick, and you can always tell when you're running a Zoom how great the conversations are happening in breakout because nobody comes back right away. Like they take the whole 60 seconds before like you get this flood of people who come back to breakout. So that's a good sign. I could tell you guys were really into your conversations. Thank you for those of you who were able to get into the Menti and we captured some of those ideas. That really does help us as we think about, you know, from TCES, how we want to support and have topics like this for next year. So moving along, we do, of course, have new TEKS that are going to go live in the fall. I don't think anyone here didn't know that. I hope nobody here didn't know that. But of course, yes, in the fall of 2024, we do have new TEKS. And we don't have a whole ton of time to jump into the intricacies of what those new TEKS are, but there are definitely some big ideas that are new for our TEKS this fall. And the first one, obviously, it is phenomena. So we just did like a word count, and actually the word phenomena is present in, if you do K through 5, you can find it 51 times in the TEKS, whereas the prior TEKS, it was just mentioned once per grade level. So just 6 times. So this word phenomena, like it just has exploded in terms of how much it is used in the TEKS itself. So that's one of the things to definitely look out for. And then also new vocabulary, new words like SEEPs and RTCs. SEEPs is science and engineering practices. What I think they were prior referred to as like process skills. All of the TEKS that are 0.1 to 0.4. So depending on your grade level, so like 5th grade would be 5.1 to 5.4. We used to call those process skills. Now they have the title of science and engineering practice, which really aligns with kind of what we're trying to talk about in terms of having the kids do more hands-on. And then our RTCs, recurring themes and concepts. This is new for Texas. It's not so new because it was from a piece of work published in 2012. So it's been around nationally for a minute. But for Texas, in terms of it being explicitly a whole strand in our TEKS, it is relatively new. And I had that graphic that I showed when we were looking at the data. And like I said, we call them, it's a lens in which scientists look at things through, or it's a brain tool that a scientist utilizes to try to examine a phenomena, so that way they can try to make sense of the world around them. So these 3, like I said, this is a super high level, very quick overview of what is changing in the TEKS. We could honestly spend an hour probably on each one of these. We don't have that time today. But what we do have was we wanted to kind of at least be able to point you into the direction of where you could do a little bit of learning on your own. So of course, TEA has a ton of resources for you to help transition to the new TEKS. So I just linked their science. So this is the TEA website for science. Of course, the big thing is the TEKS guides. If you haven't seen it, they've been posting it on social media. They do have a TEKS guide that is for science. For that, you can, they've had them for ELA. I know TEA has been working really hard to get these published for science. So you can actually sort them. My internet is super slow, but you can search any single TEK, really K through 12, and it'll give you like guidelines and vocabulary and resources and which RTCs connect to it. So that's a pretty comprehensive tool. If you want to just kind of see your TEKS, you can pick your subject, pick your grade, and you can find really anything you want. That's a rabbit trail. I definitely recommend jumping down that. And they have, of course, the new TEKS are posted here on the TEA website, as well as all these other tools. They have RTC posters, vertical alignment documents, so much that they have put out. So obviously coming from TEA, it's always great. It's right from the horse's mouth. Like there's no guessing about it. These are the new TEKS, and these are the resources that they've put out to support us in that. Another organization, of course, is STAT, which is the professional organization, our umbrella organization. STAT is they are the ones that put on CAST, the conference that happens every year in November. And they have a whole bunch of things that you can do. Obviously recommend their membership, but if you don't even, without a membership, you can still look at their STAT studio. They do a lot of videos. So they're kind of podcasty type videos, and they interview science teachers from all over the state. They interview science leaders, educators. Here's Dr. Julie Jackson. They interviewed her. I mean, just all kinds of things. They have a whole series called So Funny You Should Think That. They have teacher spotlights, season 3 of Funny You Should Think That, where they have science educators talking about content and pedagogy, and there's just a treasure trove. So if you're more of like I want to watch a video, STAT has tons of resources there for you. And then the third one, of course, I wanted to mention was ourselves, the TCES, our website. Like I said, we're getting back into it, but just to kind of share these virtual collaborations is where we've started as our board got revamped. This is our third one, believe it or not. So if this is your first time with us, welcome. But we did have one in May where we talked about the end of the school year, how to close the year right. And going back, our first one was in March, talking about how we get ready for STAR. So we try to have these virtual collaborations semi-regularly. Our goal is to do them about once a month. So that way, in real time, we can kind of capture what's kind of on y'all's mind. And once again, our hope is to create spaces for you all to connect, collaborate, and then also do a little bit of professional learning as well. So like I said, this is our third one. It's our June collaboration. And with that, we would like to continue on and get into the last part of our session today. So most districts went through this materials adoption process, and we just asked, the vendors are some of the nicest, friendliest people you've ever met. And we reached out to them and said, hey, we kind of want to do this thing because we know some schools and some districts don't maybe have access to PD or their service center. They missed it. They're on vacation. Heaven forbid we go on vacation in the summer, right? So we just wanted to create that space. Once again, TCES, we're just trying to create spaces for you all to connect, collaborate, and grow. So we invited all of the vendors. And so what we're going to do next is we're going to jump into breakout rooms again. Melissa's going to open those up, and they're just going to be sorted by company. And there will be a representative from that company in the breakout. And we have about 20 minutes. It's a little bit more time because we do know that for some of us, if you had time to get training over the summer on your resource, some haven't. But we wanted to give you guys at least a bit of a half step head start on the school year. So that way, when the first day of school comes, you'll be a little bit like, oh, at least I've seen what the program looks like. Maybe I have a question about it, or maybe I've gone to a training and I still have some questions and I just want to talk to you from that company. So Melissa has opened those up. Once again, this is dealer's choice. You guys can go ahead and just choose your breakout session that you want to go into. And once again, it'll be about 20 minutes. So we'll come back at around 4:22 to close out our time today. Vendors, of course, you're going to go into your session. If you don't know, which I know some people on their form said they weren't sure which resource their district adopted, I'd maybe email somebody and try to find out. I don't know. I wouldn't want you to go into a company's session and then that not be the resource that your district adopted. So do your best to try and find that. But once again, those breakouts are open. Go ahead and jump into those, and we'll see you in about 20 minutes. Okay. And it seems like we are just about all back. So once again, I was watching the countdown, and with like 10 seconds left, I still had like 40 y'all in your breakout. So I'm going to take that as another piece of data. It means that y'all were enjoying the conversations with vendors. So I just have a few more things to say. I'll just kind of share. So we'll we have a few more things just to kind of talk about from TCES side of things. And what we would like to do, like I said, I know that the conversations with the vendors was going really well. So what we would like to do is if the vendors are available, and if teachers, if you would like to continue your conversations with them, what we'll do, our meeting will end at 4:30, but we will leave the Zoom open and we'll open the breakouts again. If you would like to jump back into a breakout with your vendor, if you have the time and if they're able to kind of facilitate that, we'll give you another maybe 15 minutes so you guys can continue your conversations. I hate to interrupt. And on top of that, we're actually, Melissa, my co-host, is going to add one more breakout room. Liz Baker is here from TEA. She was instrumental in helping develop the TEKS guide. And so she's the one who put in the chat about the virtual sessions that is in July 9th. But she said she would make herself available as a breakout room as well. So if you would like to jump in, we'll just title that breakout room TEA. So we're about to close out here. But like I said, once we close out, we will open up those breakout rooms again, and we'll have another one titled TEA where you can talk to Liz. She'll be able to share her screen or answer questions that however she kind of wants to handle that. That's kind of up to her, but that's just kind of how we'll close out our time here today. So really the last thing that we have is just, we would really encourage you all to join us here at TCES. As Kelly said, we've just recently revitalized the group, but you can tell with our participating members being all over the state of Texas, of course, a lot of our stuff is going to have to be virtual, but as you can tell, there is a desire with almost, I think I saw 60 people on the call a little bit earlier. So I think it's just a great opportunity for elementary science educators to get together and meet each other. And like I said, how many opportunities do we have to meet a teacher who might just be one district over or one town over? So I really think there's a lot of potential here for this group, especially as we implement new TEKS and new resources. We really do have to kind of lean on each other, on each other's understandings, on learning from each other's mistakes and figuring things out as we go. So I really think a sense of community amongst our specific niche, our elementary science teacher niche, I think that's really important as we take on this big task of implementing these new TEKS and these new resources. So we just really want to encourage you guys to join. There's lots of different ways. You can join right from our website, different ways. It's only $10 for an annual membership. So about the price of a Starbucks coffee these days. And for the whole year, you can register right online. You can send in a check for $10 if you'd like. We've got that option. You can also, if you go to CAST, as you register for CAST, there's an option to add affiliate strands to your membership. So like I said, it's only $10. So when you're paying for CAST, or if your principal pays for your CAST, just click that little button that says join TCES as well. And that'll just add $10 to your CAST registration fee, but then you'll have membership, and our memberships run from CAST to CAST. That's our year. But of course you're able to join now. And like I said, what that will get you is we do a lot of these types of, our plans to do a lot of these virtual collaborations. And for our members, we will send out more detailed notes, links to things, videos of the meetings, things like that. We're really just trying to capture now interest in the group and create this great community of science educators in our state of Texas. But as we keep going, the benefits of membership, you'll have access to things as a member. And like I said, the cost being minimal, we just really encourage you guys to join, because a robust membership is what's going to yield just these great conversations that we've been able to have today. So thank you so much for your time. If you could, there is a QR code. I know some of you are on your phones. So in the chat, Melissa's got the link for the feedback form. We would love your feedback. So the feedback form is about today. If you could tell us, if you thought today was helpful, if you got something out of it. And then there's a separate section for your vendors. So we'll send that feedback directly to the vendors. So vendors who are on the call still will send you, the feedback that we get from teachers for y'all. And then also there's an opportunity to say, in the future, like I said, for CES, we do plan on doing these about once a month. So let us know what, there's a question about, I wish we had more time to talk about let us know, what would you like to talk more about? Because like I said, we have lots of these planned for next year, and we just want to know what you guys feel like you need support in, what you'd like to pick other teachers' brains about. And like I said, even we are, TEA is, here and willing, and our vendors are here and willing, and we've got a lot of access to people who can support you and help you in whatever you'd like. So that is my last ask of you, is that we're 1 minute ahead of schedule. Look at that, as we end our time here today. So once again,
hey Rocco, I hate to interrupt. You know how much I hate to interrupt people. But the link for the feedback form is not working.
I just fixed it, Kelly.
You fixed it. Great, even
I
better.
just sent the new one. Yep.
You're the
So
best,
if y'all
Melissa.
I try. Sorry, the first one didn't work. And I will open the rooms too for. Okay.
Okay. So that is all we have. Like I said, if you guys want to jump back into a breakout with a vendor or with Liz from TEA, you may do that. We'll keep those rooms open, I'll say, for another 15 minutes till 4:45. But you're not obligated to. Thank you so much for coming. If you're signing off, have a wonderful day, have a wonderful summer, and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you, guys.